Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to go ahead and get started this evening. If you would please rise and join us for the prayer and the pledge.
Lord, please bless us tonight as we make decisions for the betterment of our community. Please keep those that serve our country, both here and abroad, safe, and bless those firemen, policemen working across the country to keep us safe as well. It's in your name we pray. Amen.
Amen. Call meeting to order. Madam Clerk, will we get a roll call, please?
Councilmember Doherty.
Here.
Councilmember Dumont.
Here.
Councilmember Golding.
Here.
Councilmember Hoffman. Councilmember Nichols.
Here.
Councilmember Vogelsang.
Here.
Mayor Latham.
Here. And let's go on to item 220, please.
I move that we approve the minutes of the council briefing held on December 2nd, 2019.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. Any discussion from the council? Seeing none, all in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? By your action, motion carries. 21, please.
I move that we approve the minutes of the regular council meeting held on December 2nd, 2019.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. Any discussion from the council? Seeing none, all in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? By your action, motion carries. Announcements. Ms. Golding.
I have several announcements. I went to the kids play free first tee shot at our golf course, and it was great. It was a little rainy, but there were a lot of kids there, and I think it's going to be really great. I want to thank the Jacks Beach Golf Association for everything they're doing for that. Also want to mention Deck the Chairs. I went to that on Saturday for Tuba Christmas, and I have to tell you, if you didn't go, you've got to go next year. 173 tubas. 173, and I had no idea that there were so many different types of tubas, but the music was fantastic, the weather was great. 37 different schools, kids from 37 different schools also played in this Tuba Christmas group. So that was awesome. And then I also want to recognize our police department and our CPAAA volunteers who put on a great kids Christmas party at the Ace Hardware in South Jacks Beach. It was great to see the smiles on everybody's faces, including the police officers. They were having a great time with the kids, and Santa and Mrs. Claus was there, and they were having a great time. It was just a great event. I think we have an amazing police department, and the volunteers are equally amazing. And then I just want to wish everyone a Merry Christmas, a Happy Hanukkah, whatever you celebrate this holiday, and a very Happy New Year.
Thank you, ma'am. Mr. Stefopoulos.
Speaking of Deck the Chairs, just wanted to let the council and the audience know that this year was the first year that the actual city of Jacks Beach entered the competition with the chairs. And our staff put together the Ferris wheel that is at the far east end of the plaza, and we took 5th place. Honorable mention. A big hats off to our staff. We had a lot of volunteers. We had a core group that put in a lot of time and effort after hours and on weekends. And I'd just like to say congratulations to all the staff that worked on this project. It's a tremendous success. Yes, those were nice.
Excellent. Anyone else? Okay, moving forward to court, courtesy of the floor. Got 3 cards this evening not tied to the agenda, and first one will be Jim Sorrell. Jim, if you come forward, give us your name and address. You'll have 3 minutes, sir.
Jim Sorrell, 428 10th Avenue North. Come to you basically to tell you that I think it's time that we need to get a better forum where citizens can get their information, inquiries, complaints, whatever, other than this. 3 minutes is not good, adequate time to get it across. And also, I believe I have seen that the citizens do not feel they're being represented. And this is especially noticed when I was at the last Planning Commission, which I had an interest in. And the Planning Commission is really concerned about the Land Development Code, which all of us are, that needs to be changed. It hasn't been changed since 1955, in essence, unless there's been something that needed to be, and bleeding that needed to be patched. In that process, the citizens aren't represented at all, basically. And for that reason, I can tell you, if you want to make a note, the item number PC 3519, PC 1215, and PC 12.7. If you look at those things, you'll basically get a good idea of what I'm talking about, because I feel that things are, if they're not illegal, they certainly are immoral, because they're not being handled properly, and the citizens are getting short in the stick. There is not an appeal process. There's an appeal process in every part of the ordinances except for the citizens. The citizens, if they feel something is not being done correctly, there's no appeal process. So I think that needs to be addressed, along with the Land Development Code. And even the Planning Commission mentioned that if you notice, if you go back on their meetings, they're basically having to rubber stamp things because they feel that the Land Development Code is not clear enough to them, so they're just passing all these things. But what I'm here for right now is a formal request that you start putting in residential parking. We talked about this about 6 years ago, that we have to make residential parking. This area I'm talking about was being adjusted, is being destroyed. The roadway is being destroyed in residential neighborhoods, to whereas now they're parking on the street, which is making residential streets single lane. The property value is decreased. It's horrible. So I mean, I'm willing to talk with anybody about this issue that is willing to work with me on it, but something has to be done. I'm sure I'm not the only street that's affected by C1 infringement of the commercial area, and there are, I have many ideas. Some of them are already implemented in South Jacks Beach, and I think we need to do something to make residential neighborhoods residential again. Thank you.
Thank you, Jim. Ken Marsh. Ken, if you come forward, give us your name and address. You'll have 3 minutes, sir.
Ken Marsh, 2011 Gale Avenue. Well, it's the end of the year. How time flies. I thought it's a good time to talk about the year and recap it. I've sat in a lot of these meetings. Based on this year, I think you guys have done a stellar job. I think as I went back and looked, and I thought about it, you've made some great choices in the city manager, and the city attorney, and with the Commander Smith. So you've made some great choices there. You've dealt with some hot topic issues, like the merging of the police department, or the fire department. Recently, Lakeside Drive, short-term rentals. I won't include the SRX because I think based on where it started, when it ended, got a little bit diluted, but still a lot of time took to get to where it got to. So I think those were all hot button issues that required a lot of your time. Regardless of how the vote came out, whether it came out the way I wanted it or not isn't the point. The point is you all worked hard at that. And as a citizen, I appreciate the work that you all did on that. I would be remiss, however, to say that we've got 2 opportunities here to improve as we go into next year. One, Jim alluded to, and that's on the communication that happens here in our city hall and what the citizens find out about. That has to, for the 2012 crew, you all talked about this when you came in. How do we get the citizens engaged in this process? It needs more work. Talked about the courtesy of the floor. That hasn't been figured out on how to acknowledge the people that spend their time to come up here. And lastly, I'd have to talk about the downtown vision. I'd have to talk about it. When we started here January, we said, look, we need to address the question of where our downtown is going to be at some future date and time, where at the end of the year, we do not know what our downtown is going to look like at some future date. The progress that Keith alluded to in the briefing last time, we're spinning our wheels. So I am challenging you, go take the leadership, go to the CRA and say, look, we need a downtown vision plan at X time. It could be June, whatever you guys feel is appropriate, but say, look, we need a vision plan. What will it take for you guys to give us an iteration or a couple of iterations? When do you want it? And give them that leadership so that the citizens have an idea on where this downtown is going. I want to wish you all a happy holiday, a Merry Christmas, a Happy New Year, and thank you very much for all the work you're doing.
Thank you, Ken. Gary Paytow. Gary, if you come forward, give us your name and address. You'll have 3 minutes, sir.
Good evening, Gary Paytown, 725 Bon Air Circle, Jacks Beach. Thank you for the opportunity and very happy holidays to all of you. I just want to ask you to do a little bit more of a deep dive in the briefing that you just had. There was discussion about the reduction of the funding in the South Beach redevelopment district. I'm not sure that we've done enough investigation yet to really determine whether or not those tax dollars can go back to Jacksonville. There was a study done back in 2012 by the CRA as to projects that need to be completed down in that South District. That specific study, not all of those projects have been completed. So until we get them all completed, why are we returning those tax dollars at this point in time? There's a great opportunity for us to do considerably more in the South Beach District. And I just ask you to take the time to truly take a look at this and see if we're at a point where it makes sense to release those dollars. So again, Happy New Year to all of you. Thank you.
Thank you, Gary. Appreciate it. Okay, I don't have any other cards. We'll move forward to under the city manager, item number 222, please.
I move that we accept the monthly financial reports for the month of November 2019.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. Any discussion from the council? Absolutely, any comments? Okay, Madam Clerk, roll call, please.
Councilmember Doherty,
Yes.
Councilmember Dumont,
Yes.
Councilmember Golding,
Yes.
Councilmember Hoffman, Councilmember Nichols,
Yes.
Councilmember Vogelsang,
Yes.
Mayor Latham.
Yes, 223, please.
I move that we approve the dedication to the city and acceptance for maintenance of the public infrastructure improvements for Beach Marine Harborside Townhomes Phase 1 as described in the memorandum from the Public Works City Engineer dated December 9th, 2019.
Second.
Got a motion and a second, Mr. Stefopoulos.
This would effectively accept the installation of public improvements, specifically potable water lines out at Beach Marine. That'll be owned and operated by us. They have been built to city standards. We've received all the appropriate documentation. City Engineer Marty Martirone is here if you have any questions.
Any questions or comments from the council? Ms. Golding?
I just have a question. Do we know what the status is on the Beach Marine Harborside Townhomes Phase 1? Is that something that's moving forward or what? Do we know?
Marty Marlone, City Engineer, Public Works Department. I asked the owner about if he had any construction timeline for the construction of those townhomes, and the reply from them was that they don't have a firm date at this time. But I'll be glad to share that with you whenever I receive that information.
Thanks, Marty. Mr. Stefopoulos, did you want to?
Beach Marine is currently dealing with some outside property ownership issues as well. And I think that right now they're going through some due diligence processes and everything's kind of on hold until such time as that's resolved.
Right.
Thank you. Any other comments or questions from the council? Seeing none, roll call, please.
Councilmember Dumont,
Yes.
Councilmember Golding,
Yes.
Councilmember Hoffman, Councilmember Nichols,
Yes.
Councilmember Vogelsang,
Yes.
Councilmember Doherty,
Yes.
Mayor Latham.
Yes. Item number 224, please.
I move that we authorize the city manager and mayor to execute a lease with Hart Utilities of Jacksonville, Inc. for property at the Jacksonville Beach Industrial Park as described in the memorandum from the Property and Procurement Officer dated December 9th, 2019.
Second.
Got a motion and a second, Mr. Stefopoulos.
For those of you who may be aware, Hart Utilities had been using city-owned property over by Constitution Cove. After doing some research, that's not an appropriate location for them to be utilizing going forward. So this would basically put them into an appropriate zoned area of the city. It happens to be owned and operated by us and available for lease. And Hart Utilities is looking to move there hopefully before the end of the year.
Thank you, sir. Ms. Golding?
Thank you. I want to thank you for doing this, for following up on this. I don't know if any of the other council members had received any complaints, but I received complaints about this. So I'm glad that it's being addressed, and I think the residents will appreciate that. And then also, I wanted to ask, when I was looking at the diagram of the parcels, how will Hart Utilities access their parcel? Because it wasn't very obvious looking at the diagram how they are going to access their parcel.
I believe their access point will be from the south, but I'm not 100% sure. It's from the south. Yep.
Okay, and then I had one other question. I spoke with Mr. Ambrosio today about it. The lease agreement includes some language about holding the city harmless for any stray golf balls and pollution control plant odors. And we mention it in the agreement, the golf balls in the special provisions 5A on page 3, and I spoke to Mr. Ambrosio, and he felt that it might be good for us to include the pollution plant control or odors in the agreement as well, since there is a signature block for it at the end of the agreement. So I would like to move that we include some language in 5A regarding the pollution control plant odors.
Second.
Got a motion and a second on the floor. Discussion on the amendment. Mr. Vogelsang?
I have a question on the original.
Okay. Any comments on the amendment? Okay, Madam Clerk, roll call, please. The amendment, you have the amendment?
Yes, I do.
Okay.
Councilmember Golding,
Yes.
Councilmember Hoffman,
Yes.
Councilmember Nichols,
Yes.
Councilmember Vogelsang,
Yes.
Councilmember Doherty,
Yes.
Councilmember Dumont,
Yes.
Mayor Latham.
Yes. Okay, so we're shifting our discussion back to the original agenda item, and Mr. Vogelsang, you're recognized.
Is this price, I do not recall what we're charging the other tenants in there. Is this pretty similar for the square footage as the other tenants that we have?
Yes, it is.
Okay. Thank you.
Any other comments or questions from the council? Seeing none, roll call, please.
Councilmember Hoffman, Councilmember Nichols,
Yes.
Councilmember Vogelsang,
Yes.
Councilmember Doherty,
Yes.
Councilmember Dumont,
Yes.
Councilmember Golding,
Yes.
Mayor Latham.
Yes. And moving on to 225, please.
I move that we approve the sole source request for Spatial Business Systems, Inc. and the amount of $82,000 for Spatial Business Systems, Inc. to provide and implement the automated utility design application.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. Mr. Stefopoulos.
This software will be a huge benefit to Beaches Energy employees that are out in the field, being able to mark up real-time as-built as they go through their work process and be able to effectively do a direct transfer of those into our AutoCAD system. The technology or the particular software vendor is the only one that is certified by AutoCAD to be integrated with their software. We do have representatives from Beaches Energy here if you have any questions on the specific technical nature of what they're doing.
Thank you, sir. Ms. Golden?
Thank you, Mayor. I noticed that the request is for $82,000 and the pricing and payment terms specify $50,000 plus $7,500. for travel and expenses. So the balance of that 82,000, is that the cost of the software? Can you just clarify what the difference is between the 57,500 and the 82,000?
Good evening, Matt Seeley, Electrical Engineering Project Supervisor for Beaches Energy. Yes, in answer to your question, it is the software and licensing that goes with it as well. So the 50,000 is just for the on-site installation configuration workshops, and the 7,500 is adjustable depending on once they actually schedule the travel, and the rest is for licensing and the software application itself. Good question.
Is there an annual maintenance for the license?
There is an annual licensing per user or for concurrent users. It's 2,000 per user or 2,500 if you do a concurrent license. Yes.
Apologize about it, just do a little housekeeping here. Okay, any other comments or questions from the council? Seeing none, roll call, please.
Councilmember Nichols,
Yes.
Councilmember Vogelsang,
Yes.
Councilmember Doherty,
Yes.
Councilmember Dumont,
Yes.
Councilmember Golding,
Yes.
Councilmember Hoffman, Mayor Latham.
Here. Here, yes, thank you. Okay. Not here. 226, please.
I move that we approve an amount not to exceed $150,000 as part of the overall lump sum contract price for preliminary engineering and geotechnical services that allows Burns and McDonnell to provide a full construction bid package consisting of all drawings, layouts, specification, views, and reports as per the attached December 6, 2019 letter, Phase 1 development submission for Sampson Substation Auto Transformer Number 2 replacement.
Second.
Got a motion and a second, Mr. Stefopoulos.
The City Council authorized staff to negotiate with Burns and McDonnell back at the October 2019 City Council meeting. Staff has effectively completed those negotiations for Phase 1 of this particular project and is looking for City Council to authorize the scope and fee associated with that phase.
Thank you, sir. Any comments or questions from the council? Seeing none, roll call, please.
Councilmember Vogelsang,
Yes.
Councilmember Doherty,
Yes.
Councilmember Dumont,
Yes.
Councilmember Golding,
Yes.
Councilmember Hoffman, Councilmember Nichols,
Yes.
Mayor Latham.
Yes. Madam Clerk, please read ordinance number 2019-8130, first reading, public hearing by title only, please.
An ordinance amending Chapter 8 Cemeteries of the City of Jacksonville Beach, Florida, City of Ordinances by amending Section 8-1, Lots Purchase Easement Form, providing for findings, deleting the term lineal, adding the term collateral errors, revising the purchase easement form, providing for severability, providing for repeal of conflicting ordinances, and providing for an effective date.
I move that we revise the form of burial easement to eliminate reference to lineal descendants to enable transfer of burial rights to all descendants, as described in the memorandum from the Director of Parks and Recreation dated December 4th, 2019.
Second.
Got a motion and a second, Mr. Stefopoulos.
Recreation and Parks Director Fatides is here if you have any questions, but basically this is to bring our ordinance up to where it should be with regards to the transfer of plots that are purchased in our cemeteries.
Thank you, sir. Okay, this is a public hearing, so at this time I'm going to open this to the public. Is there anybody from the public that would like to speak to this agenda item? Seeing none, the public is closed, public portion is closed, and we'll go back to the council. Any discussion from the council or question from the council? Ms. Golding.
I do have a question. So if collateral error is to assume, I guess, the easement, do they pay for the easement, or how is that done?
Jason Fatides, Parks and Recreation. No, they would do a transfer of it without any remuneration. So we don't anticipate them paying that.
And how much is the city charging now if someone wants to sell their plot back to the city? How much is the city paying for plots now?
So it's the greater of what they paid for it or $1,000, whichever is greater.
Any other questions? Comments? Madam Clerk, can we get a roll call, please?
Yes.
Councilmember Dumont,
Yes.
Councilmember Golding. Yes. Councilmember Hoffman. Yes. Councilmember Nichols.
Yes.
Councilmember Vogelsang.
Yes.
Mayor Latham.
Yes. Merry Christmas, everybody. We'll see you at the, see you next